In the last episode, we took the ferry from Cayo Costa State Park back to the mainland off the coast of Fort Myers. We headed toward North Fort Myers, and after 2 nights of camping on the island, we were super ready to stay in an Airbnb, this really neat pool house, and get a shower and get ourselves ready for our tour the next day. This was one of the main things that we wanted to do when we were in this part of Florida, visit Echo Global Farm in North Fort Myers. We're just really interested in their whole mission of learning better farming practices to help everybody on the planet to be able to feed themselves and to have access to clean water and to be able to cook. So we were going on their 9:30 a.m. tour.
So don't let the weight of the world slow you down. And if you search for the meaning of life, it won't be found. So take your insecurities and leave them all behind. Let's learn to make the most of our time. Of our time.
Echo Global Farm has field stations at several different places around the world, mainly in Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. These are the places where hunger and being able to feed yourself is the biggest problem. We started out with an orientation video telling us more about the mission and the work that Echo Global Farm does.
Technology and simple ideas made from locally available materials can improve people's access to food, water, and shelter, improving their lives and increasing their ability to thrive.
This space heater in there?
Oh, you want to move in?
Yeah.
It's about our size.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's waterfront. Behind these plants here is a hutch where there's a family of ducks that live, and it's suspended over a pond. We're going to see the other side of the pond a little bit later, but the idea is that the ducks go in there at night and they lay 1 egg every day, so that's a good source of protein. The droppings fall down into the pond, which brings nutrients to the pond, and there are tilapia that live in the pond, so it's a big circle of creating access to protein.
But ducks are good, their eggs are a great source of protein, and so are the ducks. When the duck stops laying an egg, you're going to eat the duck, because you can't afford to keep animals around that aren't providing you with something. It's a tilapia pond. We're raising tilapia fish. Tilapia are another good source of protein. And of any fish, tilapia are the easiest to raise. They don't have the issues that a lot of fish have. They don't need a lot of oxygen in the water, so you don't have to aerate the pond.
There's a large-scale worm composting bin right next to the tilapia pond, and this is one of the best sources of natural fertilizer.
Right. What we're doing is we planted a nitrogen-fixing crop with something on these things. Then we had the pigs over here, and they cleared it up for us. Now you'll see some stuff growing again. Now what we're going to do is, for the winter months down here, we will raise these beds up and make a vegetable garden. Grow veggies for about 2 to 3 months. Then after it gets really hot down in June and July, we're going to flatten these out again and plant rice. So I'm going to cut it down. We feed this to our pigs. We'll shred these up, put a little molasses on, let them sit for a few months, a few weeks rather, and then we'll feed it to our pigs. We have happy pigs.
It is so interesting to see how Echo Farms makes use of every single resource that they have. Nothing goes to waste, nothing gets thrown out. Everything just goes back into the cycle, and it makes a more effective farming practice. This is how they are able to create over 2,000 pounds of fresh fruit and vegetables every year that they donate to the Florida Food Bank. And all of that is created in a way that teaches them how to be better at farming for other people.
The radishes,
The highest elevation in Southwest Florida.
Should we climb it?
Echo has been working on their mission to end world hunger for the past 36 years, and over that time, they have touched the lives of people in 167 different countries that were struggling with hunger.
It's the Highlands. Built out of tires and rock.
So if I put my goats in here, I'm going to bring them the food. They're going to eat what I want them to eat. Secondly, all the manure the manure drops on the floor in here, and then there's cracks, there's slots in the floor, openings, and the wind turn again is going to go and sweep the floor. All manure falls through into these pans down here, so I don't have to go all over the place to collect it. It's all in one spot. But the biggest reason goats are in here is they're going to be healthy animals. Because in many parts of the world, they let the goats run around in a small area, and what happens is there's parasites in the ground.
During the tour, we got to see a lot of different plants that produce fruit and things that we eat, but I never really knew exactly what it came from. This is a mango tree. It was full of tiny little mangoes. And this is the neem tree. It's from India, and it actually creates a natural insecticide. The farm is divided up into test areas that simulate the problems that they encounter in different countries. We moved into the tropical monsoon garden.
For 5-6 months, you're going to get lots and lots of rain. 40, 50 inches of rain every month. So what happens again, they raise these beds up so I get rid of that too much water, right? But then what happens is after 5 or 6 months of rain, I get 5 or 6 months of nothing. No rain at all. All that water I had, now I don't have any.
Every animal that you find at Echo Farms serves multiple different purposes in this circular cycle of nutrients. For chickens, of course, eggs and eventually meat. But when the chickens are working in the garden, they're really good at insect control as well as providing natural fertilizer, and they scratch at the ground to soften it up. We moved into the community garden, and this simulates what you could create in an urban or a suburban area with raised beds. The interns here were using empty plastic bottles to fill up extra space in these raised beds or in container gardens. And that serves the purpose of not needing as much soil, and the containers aren't going to be as heavy because there isn't as much volume in there, but you can still grow a lot of food, and the trellises create vertical space.
Oh, there's water.
You take some leaves and pass them over to other people. But this is very nourishing. Of any plant, this is the most nourishing plant we have on a farm. 7 times the vitamin C of oranges, 4 times the calcium of milk. This is really good stuff. It will grow in very dry, wet, very little water, grow in very poor soil, it just grows. In fact, the only
Growing and distributing the moringa tree around the world is one of the most important projects that Echo works on, because the leaves are so nutritious. Adding that to a child's diet can prevent malnutrition.
It's a tamarind tree. Yeah, see the pods. This thing's huge. Gosh. Avocados. Yum.
Echo also teaches farmers the value of using a cover crop. This can help maintain a better moisture balance in the soil, and certain plants are good at bringing nitrogen back into the soil, an essential nutrient.
You have to cook this. You cannot eat this raw. It has cyanide in it. You eat this raw, you're eating poison. And if you eat enough of it, you're going to get very, very sick and possibly even die.
The biogas digester was one of the things we were the most interested in, to see how they create cooking fuel from plant waste.
It decomposes in there and it makes 2 things. It makes a gas that comes over here, and it makes a liquid waste that comes over here. This liquid waste is fertilizer that I can use for growing things, and this is my gas here. This red drum is filled with water. Then I have the white drum inside of it, and what happens is as the gas comes into this white drum, it lifts it up, it traps the gas between the water and the top of this drum. And so the higher this is, the more gas I have. So right now there's not a whole lot of gas there. There we go. Wow. I'm cooking with that gas over here. Nice blue flame, nice and hot. No smoke. I mean, this makes somebody's life so much better when they don't have to deal with the wood, getting the wood, cooking with it, and making it. I put my hand way up here and it's hot.
And they're manure-making animals right there.
That's right. That's right.
The goats that are kept in the pens right next to the biodigester are also used to feed it. Their manure is a good source of creating biofuel.
Money. Money. This is a farmer's bank account. He's gonna have muscle power. They do work for me. They can pull a wagon. They can do all kinds of things for me. But these guys here are these are full-grown goats. That's as big as they get.
Oh, really?
And you see we milk these goats.
You can take a break.
Maybe sometimes 3, where typically a cow only has 1.
Are they hard to keep in a fence?
The goats are another essential part of this whole circle of recycling resources and nutrients. Here you can see they've taken a lot of trimmings and waste from along the farm, and they go into this feeding area for the goats, and goats will eat all sorts of things, so it's a good thing to add to their diet. We continued around to the other side to see some of the other specialty farms, and we got to see a jackfruit tree.
Fruit will get up to about 30 pounds down here. Wow. In the Philippines, where this is native to, 80 pounds for one fruit. They get really, really big. And you can eat the fruit, per se, or what's really becoming popular now is you're using jackfruit as a meat substitute. Garden area is an urban area, and what happens is many people, especially younger people, they move from the farm to the city. They want to get money. They want to make some money. But they come here to get a job, but they're also used to growing things for themselves to eat, growing things to sell. They get here, it's all concrete. These are wick gardens. Wick garden has no soil at all. None. There's no soil in there. What I do is I lay a piece of carpet out there, a blanket out there, anything I got. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a covering on that of some kind of plants. And straw, whatever I got, and just the covering is there just as a covering. And then what I do is I put my plants on there that I want to grow, and the covering supports the plants that I'm putting on there. Then the root system of these plants are going to spread on that carpet looking for nutrients and water.
Rabbits are another animal that add to this whole cycle of nutrients. They are a really good source of manure, and they eat a lot of different types of plants that you can find around your yard. And then we got to see a starfruit tree.
Oh, that you can ask them gardening questions? Yeah.
How do you get out of New Jersey?
Remember, tell somebody else about it.
And go shop. It always helps them.
Yeah, I think we should get some and then make something with it later. It'd be fun.
We enjoyed the tour of Echo Farm so much, and we found it to be such an inspiring experience that we decided we would stay for the next tour as well. The second tour at 11:30 is called the Appropriate Technology Tour, where they talk about how to get clean water, how to build housing in different parts of the world, what we can do to help with those problems that a lot of people face. I hope you will join us for this experience before we continue our journey up towards Sarasota.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air.